Our schools are integrated and our people get along. They might not get along as well as you like, but they get along okay. Now, Major, I got things I gotta take care of.
I did call my commanding officer, by the way. You should know the Army's not gonna rest until Lieutenant Johnson has gotten his due.
The Army might best be served by turning its attention to putting that boy in a veteran's cemetery.
This was his home. His parents want him here.
I'm sorry.
You could go to court over this, you know that.
And that could take years. Do you want to make Luther and Ada wait that long before they can lay that boy to rest?
Do you?
I can't help you, sir. Well, you tried. You did your duty. Why don't you let it drop?
And that's the limit to what the Army can do? After that, it goes to the U.S. Attorney then, right? Okay. Thank you for the information. Yeah.
You want milk or sugar, Major Lew?
No, just a little milk, please.
I had that book out earlier. That boy left us a lot of memories.
You must have been very proud of him. Mrs. Johnson, when I first realized what you and your husband were trying to do, I must admit I was a little surprised. But I went along, those are my orders, to render all reasonable assistance. I'm still here to do that, even though it's taking a little longer than normally. But, well, I've come to see what you're up against here. On top of all your grief, are you sure you want to take this on?
All my grief? I don't know yet how much grief's in me. How many tears. I thought I used them all up on that first night, but I didn't. For the rest of my life, I may not reach the bottom of that river. But my grief, my husband's, is no excuse not to do the right thing. You said you had no children?
No, ma'am. Not yet.
I hope you do. They're a blessing. They're such a blessing. Some folks, they're ready for that kind of thing, but I wasn't. Everything Dwight did was such a surprise. Walking early, talking a blue street, playing ball like that. And bringing home those grade cards. Mr. Johnson and I, we went to school, but we ain't never brought home no grades like that. He was a wonderment. You know, sometimes, we'd sit and try to figure out where he got it all from. What great-grandma or grandpa had that kind of a mind. And when you got a child like that, sometimes you don't even feel like you're the mother or father. You feel like you brought a gift to the world. A message. Even you yourself don't understand it. Not all of it. And now he's dead. I can say that now. But he's not gone. Not unless they take him out of this town. A town he brought honor to. It would be like turning time around and saying he was never here at all. And we can't do that, Major Laird. So, no matter what the grief or how much trouble. We just can't do that.
Did you read this editorial, Joe?
Nipper, you know I don't get to the paper until I get you clowns out of here.
It's about that trouble down at the cemetery. Listen to this. A white woman owning a plot in the town cemetery evidently donated it to the Johnson family. Now, who do you suppose that is?
Never guess in a million years.
Leading them to the false expectation of burying their son there.
False is right. Do you want anything else?
No, thanks. You know where I can get a paper, though? Great.
People who start things like this deserve what comes to them.
And what is that?
What?
What's coming to him?
You defending this nonsense, Henry?
No. No, I'm not going to attack it either. The way I see it, the only way to get what you want is to go for it.
The only way they get those ideas in their heads is from outsiders. Or from kooks like Dora McAllister.
Everything all right?
Just fine, thanks.
That I used his casket as a political football.
I call them the way I see them. I have to.
Sam Jennings, we've known each other for 50 years. You know I'm not a political person. I don't belong to any of those groups. I'm not a joiner.
Well, that's for sure. The only organization you belong to is the oddballs of the world. You may even be vice president.
What is so odd about helping your friends?
Helping your friends? Or are you using them to make a point?
Listen, I thought long and hard before getting them that extra plot because I knew how people like you would interpret it.
I have to interpret it. It's my job to try to give the people of this town some perspective. Do you remember what it was like in the South in the 60s? Have you forgotten those mobs, the violence, the police dogs, those little girls blown up in a church house? Well, it didn't happen here. This town got through it all right.
Got through it? We didn't get through anything if someone like Dwight Johnson can't even be buried here.
Oh, my God, Eudora, you measure the world from perfection downward. Well, I don't. I measure it from chaos upward. That's the difference. Anyway, if you don't like the way I run this paper, why don't you start one of your own? You'd probably be damn good at it.
I don't want to start a newspaper. I don't even want to read one for a while. Especially yours. You can cancel my subscription.
Again?
What's wrong? What happened to you? I remember young Sam Jennings, the idealist.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago, you know.
Mrs. McAllister.
Major Ladd, are you going in to see the editor, too?
Yes, ma'am.
I wish I could believe it would do some good.
Somebody's out there!
Did you want to see me? I'm Sam Jennings.
I'm Major Kendall Laird. I'm the Army's Survivor Assistance Officer here to help the Johnsons with the burial of their son.
My Johnson. I suppose you're here to give me a piece of your mind, too. Sit down, Major, and go ahead. It's that kind of morning for me.
I just saw Mrs. McAllister leave here looking mad as a cat. My guess is that she's pretty upset about this editorial of yours.
There's no reason to be. I didn't mention her by name.
You don't have to in a town this size.
Eudora and I go back a long time, Major. And over those years, we've had lots of differences, some public, some private. But I have to say that she's survived them pretty well.
I'm not worried about her, but what about the Johnsons? Is this fair to them?
It's not a question of fairness. It's a question of timing. The speech.
Mr. Jennings, this is 1972. Integration has been the law of the land for 15 years now.
It may be the law of the schools or the drinking fountains, but we're talking about cemeteries here, where we bury our families. And that is a very personal thing around here.
And the Johnsons? Don't you think it's a personal thing to them? They deserve better than this.
Yes, maybe they do. But I hope you won't let this incident give you the wrong idea about our town.
Look, Mr. Jennings, I can see that you care a lot about this town. Let me ask you a question. What picture flashes into your mind when I mention the name of another town? Little Rock, Arkansas. You saw it, didn't you? The photo of the little black girl clutching her school books out of fear, having to be escorted into her first day of school surrounded by armed soldiers. You want the town of Rockville to be remembered by an image like that?